Hello, name's Anand. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today I got a build for you that I quite literally assembled on my way to the doctor while being sick. I contemplated a plethora of real-life physics, of real-life mechanics if you will, and considered whether or not I would be able to make a build revolving around that physic in Wizard of Legend. And turns out, I indeed can, and this build is quite fun. It's nothing underwhelming by any means, but neither is it particularly overpowering or overwhelming. It's just your average, decent, versatile, full lightning, good in any situation type of build. You can take this into many different directions, you can build it many different ways, you can substitute entire Arcana off the build or just add new ones, however you please, it'll still work out. I just decided to stick with a theme that I really want to see work out in this game. So with that having been said, I'd say let's get right into it. Today's build is called Electromagnetism, which is a reference to a mechanic in physics, or rather a phenomenon where electric currents cause objects to magnetize towards them. They cause magnetism, and that's precisely what we are going to be trying to do today. We are going to be using lightning-based abilities in order to hit our foes, and then magnetize them towards the pole, in that case the ability. So we hit our enemy, and then we drag it towards that ability, or another ability that we use. That's all we really want to do. Just pull them around in funny looking ways, which feel quite rewarding to pull off. And hopefully, we will win today's run, because there's a second sort of sub-type build in this build, and it is quite a risky one, as you might be able to tell. Just look at my HP bar. We start out on 100 HP. We will get to that now. For our starting robe, we will use a robe that I barely ever use. In fact, I don't even know the robe upgrade of this robe, whether it even has an upgrade. I can only speculate about that. It's gonna be the fall robe. It increases your max health all the way down to 100 max HP, which is nothing in this game. You might as well have one, because you can be two-shot in this game. You can sometimes even be one-shot in this game when an enemy hits a critical hit and hits you for 50 damage or more. When an enemy just hits like an Atlas attack, like the Rock Toss, for high damage multiple times and stunlocks you, you just die. You drop dead immediately without really being able to commit to any counterplay, because your HP pool simply doesn't allow for you to make any mistakes. It is merciless, and we are going to be trying to get far into the run. I will not opt to win the run by any means. I just want to have a good time playing this build. The fall robe is a bit of a prerequisite, as it also adds health regen. So while we can be easily killed by being hit by very high damage powerful abilities, like I said, like an Atlas Rock Toss, like pretty much any ultimate ability of any boss in the game, like a plethora of solo abilities, and even just regular attacks that hit very hard, the health regen helps us heal all the way back up to 100 HP, which we really want because of our starting relic. Our starting relic is going to be the offensive Idealist mirror, a very specific, to say the least, item which restores all health on a pickup. It is destroyed entirely when dropped. It costs a whopping 300 gold, if I'm not mistaken, when you actually find it and run, as this is a full heal after all. And it enhances all Arcana while at full HP, which is a condition that is almost never true in this game, because there is barely any reliable healing at all, unless you get a 100% crit chance and the vampire eyeglasses, or just very, very, very low HP, and you heal it up automatically, as we are going to be doing. There's just barely any way to ever keep this consistently up. Say you're very good at the game, and you can do Dungeon 1 and 2, and maybe the first boss without taking damage. Great, you get great value from that, but you can't consistently do that. I know that. I am decent at this game. I can do first, second, and sometimes even the third dungeon without taking damage. However, it's not always the case that you get these easy or medium type of difficulty rooms. Sometimes you get incredibly crowded, very difficult rooms with all elemental enemies of an element that you just don't deal any damage against. Take lightning, for example, as we are gonna be playing with a full lightning build, and sometimes it's just inevitable for you to take damage. Sometimes you just make a mistake, and then you are all the way back down to, well, not max HP, and all your abilities are enhanced, and suddenly you lose out on a lot of damage that you previously had because of your enhanced Arcana. Now, suddenly not being enhanced anymore. Maybe only hitting half the times that they would previously, or having a very small range now, which makes you commit or overcommit a lot more, and so on and so forth. It's just a downward spiral, usually, when you rely on this item with a, say, 500 max HP, 400 or 300, even just a 200 max HP build. It's just so tough to make this work. So, because we want our abilities to be enhanced right at the get-go, and there's no other way of doing this, we are going to be starting out using the Idealist's Mirror. Why do we want our abilities to be enhanced? Why are we risking dying in a hit or two? It's quite simple. It's for the sake of fun. I just love these abilities, and our electromagnetism only really receives its abilities, or rather our Arcana only really receives the electromagnetic powers when being enhanced. One Arcana specifically, but all of them are just much better when enhanced. So I really want the Idealist's Mirror in order to be able to stick with that theme right from the very get-go. And yeah, that's the reasoning here. You gotta be careful to never drop this item ever. You can sell it either at Cremire, because it is destroyed immediately upon being dropped. Which also means when you are full on items and you pick up another item and one of your items is discarded, you should never do that. You should never get to that situation. Always be wary of that you have a super expensive item that is very fragile and will break immediately when even touched a second time over the remainder of your run. So you want to drop another item when you pick up a 13th item, so to speak. Unless your items are stacking and so on and so forth. So be wary of that. Idealist's Mirror, very odd pick. I don't believe there are many builds around this. I don't think that's really possible. I believe you're pretty much required to run a full robe when doing this. So you can generate your health all the way back up to max health to be full HP to re-enhance all your abilities, and boom. All your damage is back, all your cool abilities are back. There you go. Just try to not die due to the full robe. Let's get into the meat and potatoes though. The interesting part of this build. The enhanced abilities. For our basic, we'll be using something very plain and simple. I might even add quite brain dead, especially in PvP. This ability is nuts. It's the Volt Disc. You just throw a disc of lightning forth. It counts as a projectile, as a ranged ability, but it has a fairly low range. I would even consider this melee range, almost. It's very low to medium range, I'd say, for a projectile. It doesn't feel like a projectile whatsoever. It's just a disc of lightning that deals good damage. And when enhanced, it bounces between enemies, so it hits 2 enemies every single time. Also has quite a large bounce range. Let's show that off here. Let's look at that. So it's just a very simple Beyblade sort of ability, which also deals AoE damage. Look at that. Which allows for you to kill enemies a lot faster, and a lot of enemies at that. It's quite versatile on how you use it. It's very easily spammable, very annoying in PvP, trust me. It's just a very nice ability. It is sort of magnetic. It gravitates towards enemies that are electrostatically charged, or whatever the term might be. So I'd say this definitely suits the build, and it just feels very nice, and the enhanced version is incredibly powerful, so we love to run it. For our dash, we're gonna be running the Thunderline, which is a nice combo together with our other abilities, mainly our basic. Our basic requires for us to be rather close to an enemy, and sometimes we get ourselves into sticky situations where there are just huge groups of enemies coming towards us, and we can't exactly control them with just our basic alone, so sometimes we're going to be needing our dash, which leaves behind a residual area that is struck by lightning, a rather large area, because this is enhanced, which makes it shock for longer and gives it a much larger area. It's just an area that's being struck by lightning, like so. Also shocks enemies, essentially leaving a lot of enemies in your wake, in your immediate vicinity, stun locked for a short period of time, allowing for you to get away more easily, or to just run away entirely, or recharge your abilities, wait for those crucial cooldowns to tick down, and then maybe regroup them, or you could use it very aggressively, like getting closer and closer while stun locking with your basic, and then dashing through enemies like this for just extra damage and an extra stun lock, an extra hard grip on them, allowing for them to even more rarely break through the stun lock and attack you. It's just nice. It starts off with 2 charges right at the get-go, and therefore it can be enhanced, giving it more charges, though we don't really care much about that. We also don't care much about losing the enhancement, because this ability is just a tiny helper. Nothing particularly powerful by any means. Doesn't do great damage either. It's just decent at what it does. Let's get into the real abilities here, the real important, really fun stuff though. With the first ability, the reason why we are going to be using the Idealist's Mirror as our starting relic, and therefore the Robe as our starting robe, it is our standard Radiant Knockout, an ability that I find quite difficult to explain. It's essentially Thor's hammer. It's exactly how it would work in this game, how you would probably imagine it would work. Now, contrary to what you might expect, you don't strike your enemies from above or anything, you just swing a hammer. You make a sort of dash forward, just a tiny dash leaping forth, and then striking enemies in a cleaving motion with your hammer, pushing them away a fair distance, dealing a great amount of lightning damage to them, and then when enhanced, it pulls them back in afterwards like so. Oh yeah, it's so good. It's such a nice ability. Splits up enemies and then regroups them in front of you. Still stun locked, deals great damage. Feels very good. Combines very nicely with our Thunderline as well. Let's show that off again, like so. And then we dash out of the way, stun locking all of them. And then we can just burst them down one by one. Yeah, it's great. It's exactly this ability that made me want to assemble a build around this. Physique. Is it called a physique? Is it called a physic? I don't know. Who knows? Words are weird. It's great. It can also easily be enhanced as it is a melee ability, so giving it more crit chance, for example, is mwah, it's just sweet. Love to see it. This is our main damaging ability when combined with our basic, of course, which is also very high damage and can be relatively easily enhanced using candies, for example. Loving that, but we'll get to that in a minute here. And then finally, we get our signature, which is also an electromagnetic ability. However, as this is our signature, it comes enhanced right at the get-go, so it does have electromagnetic or magnetic properties right off the get-go. This is Deferred Dynamo, or Dynamo? Not sure how to pronounce that. This is a 2-charge ranged ability with a rather long range, which shoots forth this ball of lightning, and on the first enemy it hits, it will essentially stop moving and it will just move them around a fair bunch, pulling them towards the lightning ball. Sometimes it pulls them from one side towards the other side of the lightning ball and then pulls them back in. It's just like a black hole, a lightning black hole pulling in enemies. This can also hit multiple enemies as long as, well, the lightning zap that comes out of the ball shoots towards the initially hit target, hits multiple enemies, it will pull all of them in, like so. It's quite a fun ability to use, though albeit very low damage and kind of goofy, let's be honest. Though it does combine nicely with our other abilities. So we just pull enemies around the place all the time, and that's really it. Also, you can tell, oh my god, look at that signature charge bar. We get a lot of signature from using our standard, but all of our abilities generate a fair amount of signature, which is great. Because our signature shoots a bunch of these balls in cardinal directions, not around your character, just in a sort of cleave motion, in a sort of cleave range in front of your character, hitting a bunch of enemies and pulling them around. This, again, doesn't deal great damage, even into single targets, as only one ball remains dealing the damage. So this can't be used as a shotgun sort of ability against bosses to deal a lot of damage. It always deals low damage. But just as a general cleaving, crowd control heavy ability, this is great. and it can be easily followed up with another hammer, also recharging that signature pretty much all the way. And that's it for today. Nothing complicated here by any means, it's just a matter of how do you want to use these abilities and how the fuck do you stay alive for the rest of your run. We are only going to be trying to get so far and have a good time here. Keep that in mind. 100 HP is nothing in this game. So, with those things out of the way, let's move on to the build specifics here. Finishing it off with the intended build playstyle. We want to play very aggressively, and then when we don't have our hammer, that's how I'm going to be referring to Radiant Knockout from now on, we will try to be rather defensive. Use our basic where we can to crowd control enemies, and where we can't, help out with our signature to just deal extra damage for us, or do the ranged work for us, or help out with our dash, so we just escape and we regroup and get our hammer back up to generate that sweet signature and the damage output that we need, that we want to rely on over the course of our run. Yeah, that having been said, honestly, playstyle is quite simple. So yeah, let's tick that off the list and move on to potential problems. We start on all lightning, so we deal a little less damage in the lightning dungeon, which doesn't affect us too much. We don't care much about shocking enemies, for example, so not a big deal by any means. We don't care much about evasion from the wind dungeon either. We can fairly easily get rid of it. Not super easily. For example, we can't use our basic because it only hits once, but we can use our dash, for example, or our signature to get rid of evasive knights, for example. Pull them in, crowd control them, and then hit them a bunch. Shouldn't be too difficult. And other than that, I don't think we care much about the Earth Dungeon either, regarding our weaknesses. Poison doesn't affect us too terribly, and we don't care much about not being able to deal a lot of damage there, because we have the Idealist mirror, so naturally we deal a lot more damage than we otherwise would. We have a lot stronger combinations, and great cooldowns. I haven't even mentioned that. These abilities have fantastic cooldowns. You don't have to wait too long. With the hammer, for example, it has a rather long cooldown, but considering that you can just stun lock enemies so easily with just the use of, well, one ability for the most part, we don't care much about slightly longer cooldowns. Alright, and then finally, for my favorite section, recommended items and Arcana. What we really want is extra damage. A lot of extra damage, so we don't risk dying. Also, what we really want is a limited edition robe, so we can only take 10 damage per hit, because the limited edition robe does that you only ever are able to take at any given moment maximum of up to 10% of your max HP, which would be 10 HP. So we would make, out of potentially 1 or 2 hits that kill us, up to 10, which is great. You love to see it. We really, really want that. Also, revive items are pretty much a must on this build. So a flower crown, flower diadem, I believe it's called. We really want that. We really want the halo as well. Generally, items that profit from being low HP are also great because we only need to take damage once to proc them. So all the Berserk items, for example, are very good. All regenerative items that proc once we've taken damage are very good. Everything that just gives us benefits that make us deal more damage while also staying alive longer are fantastic. And since we don't have abilities that allow for us to stay alive longer, we also love finding those, like a jump here and there that gives us iframes, allowing for us to dodge critical attacks so we don't perish, or abilities like a permafrost bulwark, for example, that straight up allow for us to just cryo freeze ourselves in order to not take any damage, in order to be removed from combat for a short period of time that we determine. So everything that keeps you alive is great. However, defense that straight up just gives you armor isn't the best, because again, you only have 100 HP. Doesn't matter how much armor you have, you will still take a plethora of damage the second you pick up a strong damage up, like a double trouble, for example, which is an item you may want to avoid on this build, as it would essentially guarantee you being two-shot every single time anything hits you. So armor is only decent when you don't intend to pick up double trouble, so we are going to take that into consideration. I don't exactly want to run double trouble. If I come across it, I might, as I don't intend to win this run. I only want to show off the build, have a good time, preferably get to dungeon 2, maybe 3, and then we'll see how the run is going to go. Alright, that having been said, we don't need to focus on any particular strategy here. We love candies, we love extra damage. Cooldown reduction is good because it allows for a lot more uses of our hammer and therefore a lot more signature charge generation. Speaking of which, that's also decent, though not a viable strategy by any means in my opinion, because a signature just does very little damage. It's okay, it's nothing wild, but it definitely isn't your main damage tool, so don't focus on getting a very dominant signature charge build. It's not gonna be very strong by any means. By dominant, of course, I mean that you have a lot of signature related items that don't do anything besides giving you extra signature charge. That is just not very useful to this build, as a very exception to all the builds that I usually build. Right, let's move on with the run, shall we? I think everything has been said. So let's grab our money. Is there anyone we would like to dodge? Freya is a huge pain in the ass sometimes, because early on when you get frozen by the signature, it's not that big a deal because you can still break free, but late game you can't. She just combos off and she kills you super quickly. Also, Zeal can be an issue because I really suck ass at dodging her ultimate. I have no clue how to do it. I would very much prefer getting rid of the... Oh, that was the chilling dungeons. I would very much prefer getting rid of the Freya here. Don't want to face her late game, even though usually it's not that huge of an issue because, first of all, full lightning build, second of all, she's not that difficult to dodge. But sometimes circumstances arise under which you can't really happen to dodge her ultimate, because you'd have to run very close to her, and then there's just no way you can ever actually dodge that. And I don't want to die just because here. Also, this makes for a very early, very easy first dungeon. As we are strong against the majority of enemies in this dungeon, including the boss, we shouldn't have any trouble here. So one of my favorite combinations with this build is just, against single targets, shooting off a signature, and then spamming my X. Spamming my basic into them. It's not like they can do anything about it. Especially early on. Enemies are just stun locked, generally. Obviously cannot sell the mirror. Wouldn't want to, anyway. Think of it as a damage increase this early on. Even if it just increases CC that you ditch out. The more consistently you can pull off a combo, the more consistently you can push enemies around and into pits, the more damage you deal, effectively. I don't have any particular build in mind here. Don't want to spam my ability too fast, because then there might be short periods of time in between where enemies are not stun locked, where I don't attack them nearly fast enough, and therefore they can attack me, they can strike back. Come on. Just gonna regen. Oh, come on, what are you doing, boy? Gonna hit the rogue so he can't go invisible, and then we just kill both of them simultaneously. I love it. This is great. Okay. I am a little bit afraid of the Zeal, but first we gotta get there, so that's gonna be my #1 priority here. Okay, okay. I don't think the combo gloves work well with this basic. I'm not sure though. They might. They might also completely alternate the rhythm that I use the ability in, which would mean that I might make mistakes unintentionally. Raffle ticket is great. Allows for us to just buy more stuff consistently or seldom. Blades of Sympathy, that's great. Froststone is okay. I might come back for that later. We shall see. I don't know yet. Okay, let's move on to the final room, which should be right about there. We don't care much about making a lot of money here early on. We don't need to spend a lot of money, we just need items. And maybe the occasional Arcana. Use the hammer whenever we can. Okay, we really want some damage ups here. I think the stone is okay, but I don't really want that, and it makes the big beefy black guys a lot more unpredictable. We don't have a decent ability in here. We have one that grants us a shield when enhanced, which is decent because it's pretty much always enhanced for us, right? So we will pick that up, and it also helps with fighting Freya later, if we ever get there. Again, that's the issue here. Didn't get an item on the Kremmeyer stage, so that's a little annoying. Meaning we technically made a lot less money, a lot more losses than we otherwise would have had the boss chest just dropped an item. We can pretty much rush most stages, as we don't really care about losing out on a lot of money. We do care though on losing out on a lot of decent items. So I still want to clear most floors for the mere chance of finding a chest, a gift, or an elemental chest would be fantastic too. I did cancel that in fear of the Robe powering through the CC to hit me or teleport behind me. Maybe not the brightest of plays, but I haven't played this build for too long, so can't exactly say that I'm very good at it. Just stunlock them. Stun them into submission, huh? Yep. Bolt Claymore is pretty darn good. Other than that, we don't have any very strong abilities in there. Bolt Claymore just means a lot of extra damage, especially when enhanced. We are having a common theme here. Mirror is just being very useful right now. Just using our signature there for extra stun lock. Deliberately dashing into the pit there so I won't be frozen. Because being frozen might mean certain death. We do want to avoid death at any cost. Use the shields. Okay, and then keep digging for merchants. This is a trap room, so lure them out. I missed the second one, but that's okay. Oh, come on, just die. Go on the barons using the golem. Stay away from the chest, it might be mimic, though I'm pretty sure it's not. Regardless, want to stay away. Okay, bit of extra money. Okay, the captain's ring isn't particularly useful here. We like sticking with one element. Extra crit damage is decent. We do like that a lot. Extra buff duration we don't care for, so let's get the crit R, and it's free, that's sweet. Okay, how do we do this? I think we double sig into hammer, into that. Voltaic Needle. That is one of my favorite spells in this game. Very strong, but also very, very high risk. I think I want to swap them because this is just a much more important spell. Giving us a shield and I believe also destroying projectiles is very, very good. Definitely a lot of sustainability, a lot more than from the Voltaic Needle. Okay, the rocket isn't particularly good here because again our signature isn't super powerful by any means. We are gonna grab the ruby key because it's rather cheap and well, it just speeds things up a little bit. First boss! We didn't buy the claymore, but I don't think we are gonna be needing that since we now found a Voltaic Needle, which also deals great damage, albeit in a much less easily controllable area. A line is much worse than just having a huge AoE. Starting over here, so I don't risk running out of space over here. Using all of our lightning abilities to burst it down. Okay. Max Stunner isn't particularly strong here by any means, but at least we drop it timely with the Earth Dungeon. Dr. Sung. I don't think we can trade any abilities away because, well, we have a mirror, so all of them are enhanced, and I believe any of them could be picked. Do I like the Max Stunner here? I think it's okay. I think I won't be needing the Voltaic Needle on this stage. It doesn't deal as much damage. Do want to get rid of a few trees here, as this room is going to be quite crowded in a second. And the trees obscure my vision. They obstruct it, sorry, not obscure. It's kind of difficult to focus on the right choice of words when being under an immense amount of stress. Oh my god, dude, come on. Royal Flush down there, that's sweet. Also, we did proc the portal there to Iris, which is nice, though we don't care much about Iris. Iris is a lot more important on this build than on most other builds, arguably, because, well, you need to stay alive, and you can enhance pretty much any ability you want, so which abilities would you like? You can have them. You can have them all. Just combo off, pull them in, and combo off. Nice and simple. Just use the stunner, approach them, and try to keep them stun locked. Cool. Danger avoided. Okay, heading towards the right side here. I just want to basic these. Hammer occasionally and then cancel it immediately, so I just get the initial damage. Or rather, so I'm not hit by any grave abilities. Be very wary of the barrels. Pull them in. Cool. And then speed things up a little bit. I don't want this run to be too long. Because this build can definitely have a very long run. Definitely can have a very bad time with rooms. So I would much prefer avoiding rooms wherever possible. Let's head to Iris. Abuse the fact that this is the last portal we have seen, even though we haven't technically been here all the way. Permafrost is very, very good. Also helps a lot with Zeal again. Max Stunner, on the other hand, is like, eh. Voltaic helps with the Royal Flush, giving us slightly more damage. So let's grab a Permafrost, which is the dream. I fucking love this Arcana so much. It's so good. Get rid of the Max Stunner and then just move on with our day. Of course, we could also trade a Dr. Sunks, though. I mean, she has one very, very powerful item. The one that increases the damage dealt the more HP you have. If you have full HP, it's what, 20 or 25% extra damage dealt. It's very, very strong. But it's also not particularly easy for us to get. As we are required to trade an Arcana for that. And we have no guarantee it's not going to be one of our crucial Arcana. I do consider Permafrost... I do consider all Arcana we're currently holding crucial, so there's just too much risk associated. Gonna use the shield in combination with the high burst damage from Permafrost in order to finish them off. I don't care much about being hit occasionally as long as I'm not hit full on. Okay, I don't care much about Gemsy, though the Gem Finder might come in handy later. And it's not super expensive, so I'll get it. Okay, this is a full heal, but we have to be extra careful into bosses. Definitely not something I do well consistently enough. And we only have 2 more bosses to come here before Sora, so I don't think that's a very good pickup by any means. Horse is okay. Extra run speed means we're going to be able to dodge a lot better. Just spam our signature from afar. Break free from the ice cage. And we should be good to go. Okay, now I do want to collect more gems because I might find a J Jewel Tiara, for example, which would be a fantastic damage item, though we would dampen that extra damage up because we don't exactly have a lot of gems right now. And the Gem Finder would be quite helpful with that. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Always want to keep that Cage of Ice active, just in case I fuck up, so I can immediately press it. It's your emergency button, really. Think of it like that. Horse is particularly strong, as this allows for us to run circles around Sura, and we get it for free. Let's bounce it on our head. Nice. Let's bounce it sideways as well. Bounce it. Okay. Do we go for any of this? No, we don't. Also love the fact that the Permafrost was on sale for only 100, and I get the enhanced version for only 100. of one of my favorite Arcana in the entirety of the game. Probably my favorite Arcana in the entirety of the game. Hell yeah. Not sure whether the Sapphire key combines with just the Ruby key. I believe I need all 3 keys for them to combine, so I don't think this is great. I don't really want to just beat the boss on every stage. I don't need to rush anything. Bewitching Glue is decent, though it eradicates our movement speed, which makes the holes a lot less useful. Not sure I want that. I don't need a damage up that bad. I don't want to get rid of movement speed. Being able to dodge is quite important. Especially into Zeal. God, I hate Zeal. I can do that too, you guys. Okay, nothing strong in here. I mean, we got a boulder, which is very high damage, but it's not of the lightning element, neither is it water, which are both very, very handy for a plethora of reasons. First of all, Zeal, for obvious reasons, but also because, well, they give us shields, effectively, make us invulnerable for a short period of time, which is very, very strong. Can't really get any better supportive Arcana than these two, currently, anyway. I would much prefer... oh, there's another key. I would much prefer exchanging the Cascading Blitz for a jump. Preferably of the lightning theme as well. So Thunder Drop would be decent. Definitely taking that here. I could take the key as they stack, which just essentially means that, yeah, stacking items are gonna be slightly better. That's all it really means for us. Unicorn time! Love to see it. It looks gorgeous. I'm not sure I want to have Cotton Candy. Spice Rag isn't powerful with this, and Mystic Monopole isn't either, so let's move on, I'd say. We might come back for the Cotton Candy. It's not a terrible item. It's also stacking, so it makes items like a potential Mimic Find much stronger. Just gonna hit a few of them here, separately. Head to the left. I believe the portal should be somewhere over here. Oh, come on. The dashes? The double dash? Just gonna use the very high burst damage from our Permafrost. Again here, just bounce everyone. Abuse the fact that I will not dash over the ledge. You always stop right in front of the abyss in this game, which is fantastic. Except with jump abilities, but since this isn't declared a jump ability, I can't do that. So I can just be aggressive all I want and not fear any repercussions. Abuse the fact that I get iframes very shortly when dashing out of the Permafrost. So I can just dodge that attack as a whole, and then I believe I want to move on right away. Just grab the candy. It's not a free purchase, so maybe I do want to keep clearing a little bit for just a little more money. Chests. And it's not a mimic either. Oh yeah, let's go, baby. Almost ran into the Caltrops there, but I did stop myself. Eventually. Just a little more money. Come on, you guys. Love the unicorn. It's very helpful. The move speed. Okay, I guess we don't get more money here. So let's just piss off. We are done 99% anyway. There's just a lot of obstacles lying around, which we could use to potentially not about, what, like 20 coins of money, probably. There's like a lot. There's a lot of obstacles I left, which is fine. Fine by me. I'm at about 300. I'm gonna have 300 gold after this stream, so it's not too great of a loss. Okay, ultimate time. Use the iframes again. Go for the hammer. Keep in mind the hammer is our highest damage tool. Abuse the shields. Ooh, boy. That was great. I am very surprised the shield didn't break there. I took a full-on drill attack, though I kind of abused it. I didn't take the full attack. I kind of dashed through it, which means that you only take like 4 takes of damage or so. Not sure. I did cause that in plenty of boss rush runs so far. Not sure how to abuse it, but it's definitely abusable. We have plenty of options here. I like the Helm of Midas for obvious reasons. A lot of armor is great. Other than that, extra signature charge while at low health. That's okay. That would be great with a sort of a jump build or a signature that's actually very powerful. It does work for us, but it's not the greatest damage increase, so I don't really want to have that. Helm of Midas. I'll grab it. You know, it looks great. But we want to be Unicorn anyway. Wait a little bit so I can hit both of them. The other one was still stun locked off screen. Wouldn't have been in range. Okay. Use the fact that our permafrost is enhanced, so it's a lot easier to deal damage with that thing. Oh wow, that was satisfying. Gotta kill the archer, I don't care much about the lancer. Lancer is plural. Just abuse the shit out of everything. Projectile destruction, extra iframes, extra range, shock duration, and stuns and whatnot. There's just so much to abuse with this build, currently, anyway. Also the fact that we have Water Arcana on this stage. Very abusable, and we are definitely using all the tools in the shed. Okay. I would TP back here, but by walking back I can collect slightly more money, so let's do that. Candy isn't extremely helpful, but it's still helpful nonetheless. Because we do still cast our basic a fair bunch. Boy, go fuck yourself. Hello? Man, Gem Finder coming in handy. I think that's a trap room. I guess not. Don't want to freeze them because then he does shenanigans and he might just one-shot us if we freeze him. Dash twice to be out of range and then simply hammer them. Dash once. Simply hammer them. Missed that hammer, I believe, but that's okay. Hello, Cardist. Don't care about the Cardist. Now that I've found everyone, I believe we can just piss off. 500G, that's plenty. I mean, we could use the Cardist with this token, but it's just a waste of money, ultimately. We have the abilities we want, we don't need anything beyond that. Kill all of them, use the hammer before pissing off, just for damage. Okay. Run is going great so far. Moving on. We still got Zeal ahead though. She can easily kill us with both explosive fireballs into a combo, or simply by using our ultimate. I hate that ability so much. We might want this evasion right here. Projectile destruction is not particularly powerful. We don't have a lot. We didn't take the stone earlier, so it's a little too late now to start stacking stones. I do like the evasion. It will come in handy. Potentially. Even though it's just a mere 8% chance to evade an attack. It's an 8% chance to not die into Seal's ultimate. So, great investment. Turns out not dying is quite important. Okay, we just want to breeze through here. We have plenty of money for a lifetime. I don't want enemies splitting up, so sandwiching me, so to speak. One behind me, one in front of me. So I'm just gonna bounce. And regroup the enemies that way. Oh yeah, lightning baby. So much just healing coming back right at me. It's because of the regenerative powers of Blades of Sympathy, which are just ridiculously strong. As any things are that reward hitting an enemy many times all over. Like critical hit chance, for example. Lightning is just so good for that. Don't care. I'm gonna destroy stuff, bro. I don't give a shit. Try harder next time. How about that? Okay, let's move back over here. We are still missing our Nox. Please be a Nox. Come on. Be a Nox. Give me some good stuff. A luxury handbag. How about that? So juicy. Boop. This feels so goddamn juicy. I love it! Use the shield's power through. Evasion proccing eventually, that's cool. It's not a mimic. Okay, we might want to wait here just slightly. Okay, it's just a shot. Never mind then. Hey, we actually found 2 upgrades. Volt Disc and the Thunderline. I wonder whether they just appeared because we took damage with the mirror before entering the room. I would assume so. So maybe they didn't get calculated until the second we entered. Not sure. Not sure how that just came to be. Maybe it's just because they're not upgraded, period. They're just enhanced by the mirror. They're not technically purchased by my inventory, I suppose. Okay, just clear those out. Hey, Noxy Nox. Bunch of good stuff. I really like the stylus here. Can drop the rocket for that. Because it's a safe damage increase, unlike the luxury handbag, which might be dropped in a second. Let's also buy these because they're simply upgrades of abilities we already have, so they will remain regardless of our HP count. We could drop a bunch of stuff here, like the Cosmic Keychain, the Locator, the Raffle Ticket, and so on and so forth. But I'm gonna speculate we might be able to buy plenty of stuff here if we actually get to the Sora shop. We might be able to find something like a heavy travel jacket that rewards stacking many items. We might even find a mimic. This boss chest. Sorry. Oh, fuck. This boss chest, I was gonna say. Man, I'm fumbling words right now. This boss chest might drop a mimic, which would be incredibly helpful. Loads of extra damage. Come on. Okay, of course not. Moving on. Let's do Zeal. We are moving at a very fast pace here, considering the build archetype. I love that. It's great. It feels great. I'm still playing in a very risky manner, though, which she will certainly punish. Keep in mind to always use the hammer. Oh shit. We're good, we're good, we're good. And we're not good anymore. Okay, that was a very stupid mistake, very easily avoidable. I hope you had a good time. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy Zeal taunting us in the background here for dying. 31 minutes. not too bad considering how not exactly easy this is to play and to pull off. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you had a good time. And until next time, I wish you all a good morning, a good day, or a good night, wherever you are. Bye bye.